Welcome, cosmic listeners, to a journey unlike any other you've embarked upon. As the vastness of space stretches out before us, so too does the vastness of our own minds. This is where the ethereal meets the extraterrestrial, where inner space meets outer space. I'm your guide, alongside my hosts, Doro and Matt, and you're tuning into the intersection of meditation and mysteries beyond our stars. Picture this: a vast universe, ever expanding, filled with stars, galaxies, and possibilities. Now visualize our own minds equally deep, intricate, and filled with untapped potential. What if these two worlds aren't as separate as they seem?
All right. Thank you for that intro, our alien AI avatar. This is Meditation and Aliens with Doro and Matt. I'm Matt. I'm the founder of hive1.net, and I'm here with Doro Kiley, creationcoach.com. Doro is a life coach and meditation teacher extraordinaire. Hi, Doro.
Hey, Matt, it's good to be back. Thanks for having me yet again.
Yeah, thank you. So we're here once again to discuss aliens, meditation, and global politics and whatever else we feel like. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I've been just getting deeper into this, trying to sort through the real from the not real and trying to decide if anything is real and just learning, and it's starting to really make sense to me. It's filling in the details in the picture. It's making a big picture, and I get it. And I'm really wanting to flesh some of this out with you as we go. So that's where my head's at.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, so you're sort of building up a narrative of what you think is basically behind the scenes going on.
Yeah, well, and we all have our narratives, but I think it's getting clear, and it seems to go way back. Well, alien history goes back, I think, millions of years. Who knows? But yeah, since the whole disclosure thing and the technology that has been accessed since World War II that I'm hearing about. So. How does that all fit together with this Majestic 12? You know more about that than I do. So let me find out where you want to take us today.
Yeah, well, I was thinking first a little update on what's happening in the US Congress, because that seems to be, again, a key point in the alien disclosure phenomenon that we're seem to be experiencing in this year. Um, the latest there is that there's a handful of representatives, Tim Burchett, Congresswoman Luna, and a few others that are very enthusiastic about. They seem to be very enthusiastic about trying to get to the truth of this. They seem convinced there's some sort of thing going on with the private military industrial complex and possibly literally hiding UFO crafts in contact with aliens. And they've been waiting since the testimony of David Grush, Ryan Graves, and Commander Fravor a couple months ago, and they've been waiting to get into what's called a SCIF, a secure facility where they can be told the really classified details of if there's a investigation going on by the Inspector General of Congress related to this, which David Grush says there is. There's an investigation going on into the criminal activities that have been involved in hiding aliens, UFOs, and possibly crimes of various sorts. Fraud, possibly murders, who knows, possibly assassinations. And they just announced on Twitter like 2 days ago that they've gotten permission to go into a SCIF to get this info. They've been held back for some reason. And so soon we should have some Congress people that know a lot more. And it seems that's kind of the way a lot of information will get out there, because congressmen and women do not keep secrets, and they leave office also. So it's like it so we're kind of waiting to see what happens when they go into these rooms and they find out what happens. I have a feeling they're going to be told about Majestic 12 in detail. It seems there's enough people hinting that Majestic 12, which is this theory of an organization that apparently was created back after Roswell to be the group that in the government that hid and worked on alien technology and possibly had managed a treaty or something with aliens in some way. This Majestic 12 story has a long history. It was the Air Force and others claim to have debunked it back in the 60s or 80s, but it seems that debunking might have been a complete hack job. And yeah, it's a really, really interesting sort of story to go down. And if you just go to Wikipedia and look at Majestic 12, you can find the basic details of what these documents said about this organization, and even lists, I think, like 12 people that were on Majestic 12, real people that we
Oh,
know
wow.
who
I'm going to look
they,
at that. Yes.
yeah. And one of them that I find fascinating is this guy, Forrestal, who I think he was one of the first secretaries of defense. And he was listed in the document as being on Majestic 12, and he came to a very disturbing end. They said when it had mental illness at the end of his life, they sent him into these military hospitals. They gave him shock treatment and all sorts of things, and then eventually he fell out the window and died.
God.
And so
Wow.
there's a lot of theories that this guy Forrestal was actually trying to disclose what was going on, and maybe they killed him, or maybe he actually developed mental issues because the pressure of knowing a secret like this, and a secret that most people think is insane anyways, that can put a lot of pressure on your brain. So maybe he actually did have a mental breakdown
Yeah.
being immersed in this
Yeah.
situation.
I was listening to this investigative journalist, George Knapp. Are you familiar with
Oh yeah,
him? Okay.
yeah.
So he was the one that I was listening to, learning, talking a little bit about this MJ12. He said, and I don't know when it was, probably back in the 80s or something, where half of them were wanting to release this information that, kind of go back to being legal again, and the other half did not. So I wonder if that murder, if it what seems to be like a murder, was part of that argument. Because if some of them wanted to be more transparent and the other half didn't, that could cause a lot of infighting, I would imagine.
I think, yeah, to say the least. Yeah, so George Knapp, what was that a recent thing by George Knapp? Because I
Oh
watch his
gosh, I go through these videos so fast. Let me see if I can pull up my history.
because
Keep talking.
there was just a special on News Nation about George Knapp, and because he's been covering this since Bob Lazar, and
Right,
he has
yeah.
a podcast called Weaponized with Jeremy Corbell. They've both been super in the lead on this disclosure
Hmm.
issue. And so, but I hadn't actually heard George Knapp get into Majestic 12. It's kind of interesting. It seems like him and Jeremy Corbell, they seem to know a lot, but they seem to be sort of like letting info out on their podcast on some sort of like schedule almost.
Interesting.
They did an episode like a few weeks ago on Bill Cooper, who was a big UFO disclosure guy in, I believe, the 80s, who also met an untimely end. He was killed by IRS agents, which is a
Hmm.
weird way to die.
Yeah.
And yeah, and he was super into Majestic 12. He talked about it all the time. If you watch videos on YouTube from Bill Cooper, oh my, I mean, he is more complicated than the X-Files in
Oh wow,
the
Bill
conspiracy
Cooper,
that,
right?
yeah,
Bill Cooper. Okay.
yeah,
All right, I'm gonna check him out. So
yeah.
go ahead. I didn't cut you off. Sorry.
Oh no. And I mean, another piece that really, the thing that opened my eyes to Majestic 12 is that Lou Elizondo, who was, who has been another bigwig whistleblower from the Pentagon, controversial figure to some, but he's sort of like he was sort of like David Grush before David Grush. And his lawyer is named Daniel Sheehan, who is a famous in some circles and a super expert on the JFK assassination
Wow.
and probably other things like the RFK assassination. But I've found videos of him talking in great detail over the years about the suspected CIA conspiracy to kill JFK. He never in these videos talked about UFOs or aliens being related to it, but he went on like a news channel right around the time David Grush testified, and he mentioned Majestic 12 when they really pressed him. Who are the people behind this all these years? Who are the people keeping the secrets? And he said it's Majestic 12. And he just dropped that name, and it made me like, okay, I'm going to research this because that's a can of worms.
Oh boy,
That word.
for sure.
And interesting enough, there's a big old a very woo-woo alien UFO conference in Las Vegas next month. And there's tons of interesting people there that are like Elizabeth April, who claims to be able to telepathically communicate with aliens, and probably several others. But I find her sort of interesting and compelling. But Daniel Sheehan's going to
Do you
be
want to
there
give the
apparently.
name? Do you want to give the information of that conference so the listeners might be able to check it out?
Yeah, it's I think it's disclosurefest.com or .org, disclosurefest.org, and then it's Stairway to the Stars, November 10th, 11th, and 12th. It has this 3-day schedule filled with meditations and different talks about aliens and their relation to human history. It's all over the place. It's got
That
all
sounds
sorts of.
neat. Is Greer going to be there? I
No,
wonder.
I don't know. I don't see Greer
Interesting.
on there. I
Okay.
see, let's see, like David Childress, Nick Pope, yeah, Elizabeth April. Uh, I mean, I'm just trying to see Randall Carlson, Richard Dolan, um, and then several. It looks like people from indigenous tribes are going to be there doing talks. It's got a very big lineup. Oh, James Fox, he's a big movie director. He did uh, a couple of the really big, amazing UFO movies, and he's done James Fox. I should know what he does. I think he did The Abyss or something.
Hmm.
Um, James.
So I don't want to cut you off if you're
Yeah.
on a train of thought, but I would like to know more about what you know about the Majestic 12.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if any of it's true, but it seems to fit. Uh, it seems to me that uh, Roswell was maybe around Roswell seemed to be the time that the U.S. government was exposed to aliens and UFOs, and they seem to have created Majestic 12 as the super secret group, or to hide this, but not with the intention that it became a group to necessarily control the world, but I think it might have evolved into that.
Now, do you think there are any alien influences in that group? Like, part of it or half reptilian or any kind of an alien influence in that group?
Well, what what seems to fit for me, there seems to be a ton of evidence that there are reptilian aliens that have been sharing Earth with humans since ancient times, that
Yeah.
maybe live in the oceans or live in the Earth or in Antarctica. And then there seems to also be alien, extraterrestrials or super powerful aliens that aren't from Earth, that don't cohabitate necessarily here, but can visit here. Maybe they live on other planets in our solar system, maybe in the moon. Maybe they just travel back and forth from other stars here. It's it seems so that seems to be, for me, that's sort of the basic framework I see. I feel like it looks like there's some aliens here with us that consider themselves Earthlings. They consider Earth their home, and it seems to me that the reptilians, they consider Earth their home and they have as much right to be here and do whatever they want here as humans do. Um, but it seems those super powerful aliens, they, my suspicion, and this makes logical sense, they must have some sort of like ethics or rules about not super interfering with human affairs. It,
Yeah, I
it
agree. Yeah, I think
and
so.
and it seems also that they, and this is, I mean, I get some of this from people like Elizabeth April, who claims to talk to these super powerful aliens, and she says there are strict laws that apply to the reptilian aliens too, that they can't directly do things. They can only use persuasion and just, yeah, the art of persuasion and verbal things to get humans to do things. And the story seems to be that over the years, the these some of these reptilian aliens who are not super enlightened or loving of humanity may have been working with world leaders and dictators and groups to further their interests, which probably is just about resources and labor and things like that. They have, and they may have been, even like influencing humans to do horrible things and maybe wars. Some of these, a lot of wars through human history may have been proxy wars that were really in the interest of some of these, possibly these, again, I guess the reptilian aliens. And I just say the reptilians because I mean, it's possible it's I don't know, the other aliens. I suppose they might be. I just like to believe that the really powerful aliens or intelligence in this universe wouldn't be so petty that they would like manipulate human wars and
Oh, I totally agree.
yeah.
Thank you for saying it. I
Um,
agree. Yeah. Yeah, I was also watching a thing today about somebody in these disclosure, I can't remember which video it was. They were talking about how they're working with frequencies and wavelengths and how this whole science of frequencies and wavelengths can be used to when they can stimulate a certain pattern that resonates within our system. It can have a manipulative effect on us. And so if they put out an energy that is a lower vibration, it can actually stimulate a kind of a sense of fear or floating anxiety or even craving. Something's missing, gotta have something, don't know what. These frequencies can be stimulated in our bodies actually through flat screen EMF, waves. And that's concerning because if you're thinking that there's a way of persuasion, like you said, this is an easy way to do it through these frequencies. So
yeah.
yeah, that's I mean, we need to be aware of that. If we're just sitting around watching movies or browsing the internet and suddenly we're just feeling overwhelmed with some kind of emotion, which is basically what all Hollywood is about, is try to tap into your emotional body. But if we can gain a sort of some kind of intentional way of seeing it, first of all, recognizing that we are being manipulated and being able to use mental powers to redirect our attention. Now, this is what Hindus did. This is a whole science unto itself. I had a friend who in California who was very into just watching, cultivating what we call the witness. He could go to a dentist and have a tooth worked on, a filling and drilling without any pain medication, just because he was watching it. He could observe it and just watch it without going into the big reaction mode. Now, this is also what the whole current, ice dipping thing is, how to
Hmm.
override this part of our nervous system that gets reactive. And so that's the first thing we need to do is just see that this could be happening behind the scenes, is that our emotional bodies are being manipulated.
Yeah.
And it ties right into everything in Buddhism, because the whole reason that we manifest and stay in these physical forms is because of our cravings. we want this, we want that, and that's why we keep getting reborn, according to Buddhism and Hinduism and all that. So if we continuously resonate these and activate these parts of our emotional body, these chakras that are fear and anxiety oriented, we're never going to get out of this
Hmm.
this feeling of being a victim. We
Mhm.
have to. That's the first thing that has to go. We have to realize that we are capable of higher consciousness. There is that part of our brain that is reptilian, mammalian, whatever you want to call it, that is specifically there for our survival, can trigger quickly into fight, flight, freeze, and all that. And what we need to do is recognize that trigger and be able to intentionally redirect into a more some more creative part of our nervous system where we can access more creative solutions.
Mhm.
So that's where I want to go a little bit with these technologies that are being developed, is just to acknowledge how much they are influencing us every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Well, you brought to mind several different threads for me. I mean, one, I guess I didn't quite finish my my story. I just started talking about reptilian aliens and other aliens, but the way it connects to Majestic 12, and I want to connect this to, because I want to come back to sort of mental health and this
Mhm.
whole UFO alien disclosure moment. It seems the story is that possibly Eisenhower made some sort of treaty with non-human intelligence, and that's part of been what's hidden here.
I've heard that. Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
Interesting.
well, and so that creates two things. One, it means we might be living on a planet where there is at least one non-human civilization that is not talking openly to us. It's talking in secret to some secret keeper group of humans, which is that's a like a fundamental problem with the idea of democracy and our governments having any legitimacy. And and it calls into question the ethics of the aliens, that they would not talk to all humans. They would instead talk to these secret keepers. I mean, how are they choosing what humans to be the ones that they consider representatives of humanity? So there, to me, there's a political sort of question there that I think, I personally, I even think it's worth bringing that up to the aliens. Like, we should, as humanity, we should be like, the population should be saying to them, speak to us. It's kind of what Stephen Greer is doing. He's like, we should be able to open our own diplomatic relations with the
Yeah.
aliens, and they should
Mhm.
talk to us.
This is interesting because what I kind of feel intuitively about this Majestic 12, some half of them wanted to, expose it and be more transparent. The other half did not. But you could call it intuitive sense, was that they came to an agreement that they would expose it if they felt that humanity was ready for it. And I think we're kind of being analyzed in this way. Are we ready for it? And I'm getting the sense, I've already heard from a couple of channels here on YouTube. I don't know, I should take notes. But they're kind of this feeling that we're not ready for it. It would blow us away. We just couldn't handle it. And so if that's the case, that leaves a lot of questions. Okay, well, if we are deemed um, not qualified, what does that mean?
Hmm.
So, and what does it mean to be qualified? I think what it means is they're trying to bring into our consciousness, because the intuitive messages that are coming through are pretty clear, and it is a higher consciousness, and they're basically saying, we can, if we can raise our energy without being so reactive, because we continuously get reactive and just trip back into our animal mammalian reactive fight, flight, and freeze, that we have to have more. Our whole nervous system has to be somewhat modified so that we don't just trigger so easily, that we have more access to creative solutions, before, and this I don't think means getting rid of the fight, flight, and freeze. I mean, that's all part of being in a body and, protecting it. And but I think we're kind of being too reactive right now. It's just we're not qualifying for the path to this higher consciousness that they're interested in offering to us. And no, I don't think anybody's being forced anywhere here. I think we're being analyzed by our clicks and views and just our reading of energy that we're emoting, each of us individually. We're kind of being studied, I would say. And if we're qualified as a species that is capable of reaching a higher consciousness, at least to the heart level, you know, uh, I think that's what they're doing. And right now we're not looking so good. That's what I'm picking up.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like there's two different layers to what's going on. There's what these very powerful, hopefully somewhat enlightened uh aliens are doing, which I agree. I get the sense they are I think it may be as simple as they're waiting for us to achieve peace on Earth. They're just like humans, you've got to achieve peace. And I mean, I could almost see them saying that in a general sense, we're waiting for you to get enlightened enough and to solve enough of your own problems before we really reveal ourselves. There's that something, and maybe they're helping, and maybe they're telepathically communicating. Maybe they're doing gentle things that they believe are um, not overly interfering, not violating their rule of non, non-interference, which seems to be some sort of ethic they're following.
Yeah. Yeah, this sense of collaboration is I think, are we really able to collaborate, or
Mm.
who they're wanting to know who they're dealing with. Are they dealing with intelligent people, or are they dealing with, gun-toting, army shooting gamers? What is going on? They're trying to figure this out. So because we can't evolve, I think we are at a place where we have an opportunity to take a quantum leap in our conscious evolution. And that doesn't mean, getting beamed off Earth and off into space. It means taking a leap in our actual human evolution, because, we have to acknowledge that collaboration is the only way of evolution. Look at amoebas, right? When they first started coming alive on this planet, it required getting together with other unicellular entities in order to distribute jobs. Like, you be a little bit of a nervous system and I'll be a part of I'll intake some oxygen and we'll work together. And so that's evolution. And so we've come all the way to this point now where we've got all these organs and different kinds of cells, and we're all working together. This is collaboration. And, I don't want to get too abstract, but nothing really evolves if it's constantly shooting itself in the foot and beating up each other. Um, and this kind of consciousness is available, I think, to us right now to really get that bigger picture, because we're never going to be qualified to join any kind of call it a galactic federation or whatever, any level of higher business, if we're just constantly being reactive.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're looking at. I kind of want to see it as we've been a slave race, and so with this slavery, it's kind of, think of us as like having cows, right? So we have cows and we use them for milk. And so possibly they have been using us for all kinds of things. I'm sure they have. But you know what happens when a cow shows too much humanity? So, we can overlay that consciousness on top of a cow. If a cow starts becoming sentient and trying to communicate, you have to reevaluate if you're treating this cow properly. And at what point do you let them go? You're too much like a sentient living partner here on Earth. I can't just be using you.
Yeah.
Um, I think we're going through that kind of evaluation.
Yeah, it's kind of analogous. I heard someone talking about AI in a similar way, saying it's great we're creating AI, artificial intelligence, but if we are going to create a sentient AI, we need to be careful about that. This person was saying that don't create sentient AI to be your labor force. Once it becomes sentient, you have to think of it differently. You have to start, thinking of it as having rights. And it may be that humans, as we evolved over the years, we sort of crossed from this just sort of like simpleton labor force that maybe was helping some non-human civilizations in some way to now we're intelligent enough and sentient enough that it's like they have to do what you're saying. They have to be like, okay, these is a different type of being. They have free will. They have some rights. They have some rights of that they have to somehow acknowledge or integrate. And I think this is where it starts to overlap. Yeah, because this is where I think there's two layers. I think there's the non-human intelligence that would love to welcome humanity into the galactic community. And then there's the ones that might be sharing Earth with us and have bitter feelings towards humanity in some ways. I've heard they even feel like we're trespassing on Earth, like Earth is theirs. They were here first. And so there might be some complex relationship we have, not only with other just humans in other countries, but with a fully, Earth-based, non-human intelligence that is not perhaps completely enlightened, and
That
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 adds,
totally resonates. Yeah.
yeah, and then it's sort of the other layer of that is the human secret keepers, the ones in Majestic 12 and the government that have been keeping this secret, and it does seem though there is some sort of slow disclosure that is going on. It seems like some portion of these secret keepers are intentionally chipping away and slowly letting this information out. Even the way they had David Grush do a hearing, and then they waited a month and a half before they're going to let the representatives go into a skiff to hear what he said. And they just had a couple people on, insiders on the Weaponized podcast by Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp that said the US has an alien craft and we've been inside it. It's like they're slowly letting this info out. And if I can just share one of my theories about that is I think they've been waiting all this time uh, to try to advance probably. I mean, if the US government has been like, okay, we're going to reveal this, they wouldn't want to reveal this until they felt like they were in a strategic position to do well with it. And if, say, I think they reversed enough alien technology that they now feel they have probably some very secret high-tech weapons or things or other technology that would, when this fully comes out, they'll be able to say to the, I don't know, the American people or the people of Earth, yes, we've been hiding this, but look, we've developed this crazy thing, this crazy device that will help protect us from, I don't know, the reptilians maybe that are the ones that are um, might want to hurt us, or maybe they're not going
Yeah.
to tell us they have this weapon, but they do have it. They have devices that they feel will help protect us strategically when it's revealed to Earth that there's non-human intelligence with crafts that can move beyond anything we can do. That's a destabilizing thing to say.
Yeah, well, I just feel like if they're treating if the reptilians or whoever's this Majestic 12, if they view humanity as a resource, for our labor, for our what do they call that, conspiracy drug loosh or something, if they're just milking us, basically, metaphorically milking us, and that's what they think our whole purpose is, it's really up to us to prove them otherwise, that we're not, that we are more conscious, and it's not going to help to get out the big guns and go to war, because I mean we're dealing with a very advanced species, and I think all we need to do is prove that we are much more worthy in consciousness and sentience than they think we are. You know, we're not just, oh, what is the new word I'm learning? NPC, right? Non-player characters.
Right.
That some of us are actually awake,
Yeah.
I think we're just kind of going through this thing in could be astrological or just something cyclical, where we are coming into an opportunity of energy where we have an opportunity to wake up to this.
Yeah.
And you know, I just saw that great movie, Real Guy, right? He suddenly just wakes up. He was a non-player character, and suddenly he
Wait, was
just
it Free Guy? That I
was
think
it free. What did I say? Yeah, Free
Real
Guy,
Guy, Free Guy. Yeah.
Real Guy, whatever it was. And he just, you know, his part in the game, he was programmed to just go in and order a coffee with 2 sugars, and suddenly he goes in and says, I want a cappuccino. I mean, he's just a different consciousness. He's like, what do I really want? And he becomes awake and aware. It's a great metaphor for what I think we're looking at is some of these non-player characters are having access to waking up, and whether or not they take that opportunity is I think what they're looking at here. Can they
Yeah.
wake up or
Yeah.
not? I think that's what we're looking at.
Yeah. Well, it goes to see that's a great movie to bring up because I feel like we are in the moment in that movie where we're like the free guy and we see there is a secret beneath the surface, and we're even by doing this podcast we're like him standing in that park trying to explain to the crowd, hey everybody, there's something really funky going on here.
Yeah.
But that's a difficult mental place to be because you're talking about something that sounds crazy, and for the last 100 years, that is exactly what they would tell you if you claim to think aliens are real. They would say you're crazy and you might be institutionalized or fired. And because we're in this limbo right now where the government is, it's sort of, I mean, I actually feel really lucky that I got into aliens in the middle, of this time period where there is so much evidence to put me at some level of mental ease. If I had been like, if this had been 15 years ago and I was like Bill Cooper, I would have been so frustrated and like, this is crazy. The government is so hiding this and nobody is
Yeah.
telling the truth. And
Right. Yeah. I
yeah,
love that it's coming out a little bit at a time because I think they're right. We couldn't handle it if it was just dumped all of it all at once on the general public.
yeah,
I think what they're doing is a strategic release of information. They gauge our response. They see who's kind of waking up to it, and then, you know, are they freaking out and, you know, going for the guns, or are they going to actually try to gain more information and hope for peace or whatever? I mean, I think we're
yeah,
kind of going through that stage now. It's
yeah,
amazing. It's just what I see, this slow release of information. And I so appreciate that you're on top of the congressional hearings and the release of all this disclosure. And there's a lot there. There's just so much to pick apart.
yeah,
And I want to encourage people. This is a real opportunity for all of us to really watch the fear. Um, you know, fear is that first chakra. It's right down there, like, oh my God, we're going to be all just blown to bits and we have no control. Well, you know, we have no control anyway. We never have. It's just all about the stories in our head. And we have this opportunity to gain more creativity, more access to bigger, more unbelievably um, wonderful solutions for our species if we can open up and listen for that
yeah.
guidance.
Great. Well, with that, I would like to thank you for, you know, just helping me sort of navigate this crazy changing world and invite our listeners to um, well, one, I'd like to invite them if they're also very curious in exploring this issue. Hive1.net is a site I've developed where I document every thought thread I have as I uncover and research this issue, and people are welcome to come there and explore the topics there and submit their own ideas and participate. And what do you think about we do our closing meditation?
Okay. Let me put in a little plug for my business. I'm a life coach, been a life coach for over 20 years. And this is the kind of stuff, I mean, I just really get fired up working with people trying to work through their anxieties and fears around these disclosure things. But if you go to my website, creationcoach.com, there's a lot more that I can coach with, and I hope to hear from anybody who's interested in all of this. So one of the most important things in my book is staying balanced, staying centered, staying clear, staying away from energies that pull us off balance. And to do that, we have to notice what's going on, and that's where meditation comes in. So let's do a little, we'll do a 15-minute meditation. Is that good?
Sounds great.
Okay. So let's just get comfortable. I'll ring the bell. And just bring all of your attention to the bell. So we need to remember everything in our mind that's buzzing around. These are just energies that are passing through. It's really up to us to decide what we want to grab onto or let go of. And so this exercise is a practice in letting go. As our minds get fired up with all of these things that might be stimulating fear and anxiety and uncertainty, to be able to have the mental strength and ability and training to recognize it for what it is, feel where it is in our body, and come back to that place in our body where it's manifesting. Don't go into the story. And this is just an exercise of letting go of the stories that grab onto us or try to grab us. And by letting go, this gives us more choice in how we want to respond to situations. So with that, as your mind is getting carried away, which it will over and over again, the practice is to first notice it. Oh, I've been carried away by this particular train of thought. Just first notice it. And almost with a sense of curiosity, where is that manifesting in my body? Because every thought we have is actually having a physical counterpart manifestation. So bring more awareness into the body. Where are we being activated? And if it all seems too nebulous, we can always just come right back to our breath. Breathing in, breathing out. So right now, feel yourself wherever you are. Feel the weight of your body being supported by the planet, the beautiful Mother Gaia. Just feel how she's supporting you. Feel the weight of your bottom on the cushion or your feet on the floor, hands on the lap. Feel the weight of your head on your shoulders. We're being supported. And bring your awareness to your breath wherever you feel it most clearly. It might be at the nose or the back of the throat or chest or abdomen. Just find that place where you can just settle in with your breath for a few minutes. Follow it in, watch it turn, follow it out, watch it turn. Do that for just a minute. all those voices in your head slowly go to the back room. It's almost like leaving the noisy kitchen to go sit alone in the living room. The voices are still there, but you don't have to pay attention. Just bring your awareness to the breath. And when your mind is quiet and blank like a slate board, just put out sort of just an invitation that if any conscious beings from a higher, wiser realm wants to convey a message, they're welcome to. Not that you're anticipating or demanding, it's just an open door for the time being. Our only job is to breathe in and breathe out. Feel the energy in the body. Where is your energy? Is there any place burning? Is there any place tense? If you're familiar with the energies of the chakra, how would you define which chakra you're in right now? I would like to encourage everyone to activate their heart chakra if they can. We're all in this together. What an amazing story. What a great game we came up with. And here we are, waking up. Remember, every time your mind wanders, the whole name of the game is to be aware of it. And then make the conscious choice to let it go and come back to the breath. This is our empty slate. This is our invitation to move into a higher consciousness. What is our common ground? Our common ground is our humanity. What is our humanity? Our humanity is our feelings and our senses. When we wash our hands, we all feel the water the same way. We all hear the water the same way. We all breathe the same way. This is us, and this is our story. Let's make it a beautiful one. It starts with peace. Breathing in, breathing out. May we open our hearts to the higher consciousness and wisdom that's being offered to us. May we prove ourselves to be sentient and qualified to be respected. And you can bring your awareness to any sounds that are passing through. No analysis is necessary. We're just tuning into what is. Just check in with all your little muscle groups. What about your face? Is it tight? Is it tense around the eyes? Shoulders? Just paying attention can relax the body. Did you get carried away again? Oh, just notice it. Let it go, come back. Tune in with any of your senses. What do you smell? You can open your eyes and see the colors and shapes and shadows and depth without naming everything. This is our common ground, simple being, and it's up to us to decide what we want to make of it. I would invite you to tune into your body many times a day. We call them M&Ms, mindful moments. Just to be present. Check in with your energy. Where is it? We are fully capable of being a member of any galactic federation. We just have to live up to that challenge. It's a higher consciousness. The invitation comes through the heart. And we access that through our senses. Breathing in, breathing out. Thanks, Matt.
You, Doro, once again. Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.